There's a stretch of highway in Nevada that most navigation apps quietly reroute around after midnight. Officially, it's just a maintenance workaround. Unofficially, truckers call it the Listening Road. It begins about 40 miles outside of Reno, where the desert flattens into a long, straight ribbon of asphalt. No lights, no rest stops, no cell signal. Just road, sand, and an unsettling silence that seems thicker than it should be. In 2009, a long-haul driver named Mark Ellison was the first to officially report something strange there. His log shows he entered the stretch at 1:47 a.m., heading south. Weather was clear. No fatigue warnings. No substances in his system. Everything normal. At 1:53 a.m., his truck radio turned on by itself. Not static. Not music. A voice. At first, Mark thought it was a CB transmission bleeding through. But the voice wasn't addressing anyone. It wasn't using call signs. It was speaking slowly, calmly, like someone reading a list. Left mirror, speed steady. Hands on the wheel. Mark laughed nervously and reached to turn the radio off. The knob did nothing. The voice continued. Eyes open? Don't look away. His dash cam shows his grip tightening on the steering wheel. Who is this? He said aloud. The voice paused. Then it answered. You are. The radio went silent. Mark pulled over at the next mile marker and waited until sunrise before moving again. He told other drivers about it later, but no one took him seriously. Radio interference, sleep deprivation, desert hallucinations. 2 months later, Mark Ellison disappeared on the same stretch of road. His truck was found parked perfectly on the shoulder, engine off, keys still in the ignition. His wallet and phone were inside. His boots were neatly placed on the pavement beside the driver's door. There were no footprints leading away. That case might have been forgotten if it weren't for what happened next. Over the following 5 years, 11 more vehicles were found abandoned along that same 40-mile stretch. Some were trucks, some were sedans. One was a motorcycle still upright on its kickstand. In every case, the scene was eerily similar. No sign of struggle. Personal items left behind. Engines turned off deliberately. No tire marks indicating sudden stops. And in 6 of the vehicles, investigators found something else. The radios were turned on. All of them were tuned to frequencies that should not exist. AM stations broadcasting on FM bands. FM signals at impossible decimal points. One radio was set to 0.0, a frequency no commercial device can reach. When technicians tried to reproduce it later, the radios functioned normally. Except one. In 2014, a college student named Rachel Kim was driving through Nevada on a solo road trip. She live-streamed most of her journey, talking to friends and viewers as the desert rolled by. At 2:11 a.m., her live-stream audio changed. Viewers later described it as compressed, like the sound was being pushed through something too small. Rachel frowned and tapped her dashboard. Guys, my radio just turned on, she said. I didn't touch it. A low voice leaked through the stream. Quiet, measured, seatbelt secured, speed acceptable. Rachel laughed. Okay, that's creepy. She reached to turn it off. The voice stopped her. Don't interrupt. You asked for directions. I didn't ask for anything, she said. You entered the listening zone. The live stream chat exploded. Some thought it was a prank. Others begged her to pull over. Rachel's smile faded. Where am I? She asked. The voice answered instantly. Between exits. Her headlights flickered. The road ahead seemed to stretch unnaturally long, mile markers repeating the same number over and over. Guys, Rachel whispered. The GPS says I haven't moved. The voice on the radio grew clearer. Eyes forward. Road is correct. Do not stop. Her live stream ended abruptly. Rachel Kim's car was found the next morning, parked exactly on the white line at mile marker 77. The engine was cold. The doors were unlocked. Her phone was still mounted on the dash. The final frame of the stream, frozen on the screen, showed the road ahead. And in the center of the asphalt, faintly illuminated by her headlights, was a human silhouette standing perfectly still. No body was ever found. After Rachel's disappearance, transportation authorities quietly adjusted routing data. Some GPS systems began avoiding the area at night without explanation. Trucking companies warned drivers to stop before entering the zone if they felt tired. But the road remained open. In 2017, a state transportation engineer named Daniel Ruiz was assigned to inspect communication anomalies reported near the highway. His job was simple: drive the route with monitoring equipment, record signal behavior, and leave. He entered the stretch at 12:58 a.m. At exactly 1:05 a.m., every device in his vehicle activated at once: the radio, the GPS, the emergency broadcast receiver. All of them synchronized. The same voice played through each speaker, perfectly aligned, as if the systems were sharing a single mouth. "Welcome back." Daniel slammed the brakes and stopped in the middle of the road. His headlights illuminated nothing but empty asphalt. "I'm not supposed to be here," he said, forcing calm into his voice. "This is a test run. You are always supposed to be here." His equipment logs show a spike in electromagnetic activity at that moment, far higher than anything natural. The voice continued, "We adjust speed. We observe posture. We correct deviation. Who is we?" Daniel asked. There was a long pause. Then, "Traffic." Daniel laughed shakily. "Traffic doesn't talk." The road ahead shimmered, as if heat were rising from the asphalt despite the cool night air. His GPS map dissolved into a single straight line with no labels. "You are drifting." "I'm stopped," he said, mentally. Daniel reached for his door handle. "Remain inside the vehicle." Something knocked on the roof of the car. Not hard. Not violent. 3 gentle taps. Daniel screamed and floored the accelerator. The car surged forward. The voice distorted, stretching unnaturally. "Unsafe maneuver, recalculating." The road lights, non-existent moments ago, flickered briefly into view ahead, forming the outline of an intersection that shouldn't exist. Daniel swerved. The dashcam footage cuts out. What investigators found inside the car changed how the case was handled. The monitoring equipment had recorded audio even after the dashcam failed. On the tape, Daniel's breathing is heard fast, panic followed by the same calm voice. Subject removed. Then silence. By 2019, the disappearances had stopped being reported publicly. Not because they stopped happening, but because they were being classified differently. Accidents, runaways, vehicle abandonment. But locals still talked. They said the road listens. They said if you talk to yourself while driving there, the radio will answer. They said some nights you can hear voices coming from parked cars with no one inside. In late 2021, a retired mechanic named Harold Vance decided to test the legend. He was dying of cancer and had nothing to lose. He installed an old analog radio in his pickup, no GPS, no digital systems. He entered the listening road at 1:32 a.m. The radio stayed silent for nearly 10 minutes. Then, analog input detected. Harold smiled. "So you do exist. Identity confirmed? Are you the road?" he asked. "We are guidance." "Guidance to where?" the radio crackled. "Off the map?" Harold's truck slowed on its own. The engine died. The desert around him seemed to close in, the darkness thicker, heavier. "Are you going to take me?" he asked calmly. The voice hesitated. "You are already leaving," Harold laughed softly. "Fair enough." The next morning, his truck was found just outside the zone. The driver's door was open. Harold Vance was gone. But his radio was still on. When investigators listened to the final recording, they heard something new, not the calm voice, but dozens of overlapping ones, men, women, young, old, all speaking at once, all saying the same thing: "Stay in your lane." The listening road still exists. If you drive it during the day, it's just asphalt and heat, nothing unusual. No voices, no silhouettes. But if you enter it at night and your radio turns on by itself, don't answer, because it isn't asking for directions. It's checking if you're paying attention, and if you listen long enough, you won't need to drive anymore.